Well, good morning. Today's lesson is going to be a very simple explanation of what it is I do and when it is I do it and why I think it sounds better than the alternative. Say you get a chord chart that is G, then it goes to D, then it goes to A, then it goes back to G, then it goes back to D. So there's nothing wrong with that in essence. It's correctly voiced. You know, it's not like you're making a mistake. But if I'm say playing a song in the key of D and I see a D chord there, naturally I wanted to add more color to the chord. So what I might do is I might create like a 1-5-3 here on the bass note. Just move this down a little bit so you can see the D bass there. And then I'll go 1-5, and then I'm going to stretch my hand, and I'll get the 3 here. And then instead of playing a D note here, I'm going to play an E note. So now I've got this chord. Then I'm going to add an A at the top here, and I'm thinking of my next chord, which is going to be a G chord. But I've already got the 5 and the 9 of the G chord. The 9 and the 2 is the same note. Remember that playing the piano is really only understanding just the 8 notes in one scale, or 12 notes, but in this case, 8 notes in a scale. Because it's repeated 8 times up the piano, 88 notes. So you don't have to learn how to play all this, you just have to learn the basics. So if we're in this chord progression of D, G, A, I'm now going to play that chord there, which is actually a D2. I'm adding the 2, the second note in the D scale. But I'm already thinking about my next chord. My next chord is going to be a G. But I'm gonna play a G9, G2. And in my brain, I already know that a G2 is going to consist of the 5 of the G chord and then the 2. There's those 2 notes there, which ironically is the 1 and the 5 of the first chord. So all these chords relate to each other. So if I do this now, and then that note there is the G2 with the 5, so you've got that G chord, and then I'm going to an A chord. Instead of just playing a straight A, I'm going to keep these 2 notes the same, and I'm going to just change the bass note, creating like a little tension, because now those 2 notes that used to be the 5 and the 2 of a G chord now become the 1 and the suspended 4th of the A chord. And you can resolve that suspension down to the, and then I can go back to my chord. So now I can sing a song using those 3 chords that goes like this. All I did was I played the same 3 chords, and we can go back to the old way. Let's have a listen to it. So there's nothing wrong with those chords, but it just doesn't sound quite as cool as if you're just opening up the position here to a 1-5, and then you put the 3 on the top. It creates a warm tone as opposed to that. It's very kind of primary color, basic red, and this is basically blue, and that's yellow. What this is more like a blue and a red together, creating more like a purple color. And then this G is like a yellow and red together. It's like orange. And then the suspended fourth could be more like a brown. Now I can change bass notes and make it even more interesting. Then I go to a minor. It's very simple, change that. Now I'm going to go back to the D, but I'm going to use an A bass note. Watch this. And then I can resolve to the A7th. Now you're wondering, what am I doing? Well, all I'm doing is I'm repeating the same notes all the way up the piano. So if I'm playing a D chord here, I'm just using an arpeggio. I'm going up an arpeggio and I'm coming down a scale. All I'm doing is I'm just playing around the scale of D, because we're in a song in the key of D. So it's extremely easy to do this. Anybody can do it, because all you're doing is just going up and down the piano. But you do have to know that the scale of D has two sharps, F sharp and C sharp. And we're in the key of D here, okay? So now I could play a chord progression on my left hand, and I could just go up and down the scale on the right hand, and you're not going to find that any of the notes have a major clash. So. Right, now that's not perfect because I'm just literally going up and down the scale. So what I do is I think about, if I'm playing a melody and I'm trying to create a melody with, say, the same chord progression, I'll sing it. I'm creating a song by just singing notes that are in the same. So let's just recap on this lesson. I'm playing 3 chords, but I'm changing the position of the voicings. Instead of just a straight, very basic 1, 3, 5. It doesn't sound great if you're just playing it like this, you know. I mean, if you're doing a kid's song or a sing-along, it's fine. But if you're trying to create something a little more contemporary, then you want to create tensions in the chord. So a D chord, you could play that chord there. So I'm actually not playing a D on the right hand, I'm playing a D2 on the right hand. So I'm not even playing the D note on the right hand. So I've just got a left hand on the D note, and then I'm using that there. But now my next chord is a G, but I might just decide to play a G major 9. So I'm adding a tension. So the G major 9 chord will have a G, B, D, F sharp, and A. I already have an F sharp and A here. The only note change I need to make is the E to the D and the bass note. So I go from D. Now I want to go to a G chord, but I'm going to use G major 9 and listen to this. And then the A, I'm going to use, instead of just a straight A, I'm going to use an A7th suspended 4th. So there's a nice tension there. There's a nice little kind of, it's an unrestful chord because it's going to resolve to the dominant and then back to the 1. So if I'm going to do a song like so many songs I just have 3 chords. let it be, let it be, let it be. Da, 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 da. Now what I did there was I didn't go to the A bass, I went to the C sharp bass. Da, 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 da. Da, da, da. G. That chord there is, I'm using just the tensions of the A chord. Instead of playing an A chord, I'm playing an A with a G and a D. And that creates a sense of, it's going to resolve to something. So that D becomes a C sharp. I keep my seventh in here, and that naturally resolves to the